a new sitting arrangement because, of course, we have our man Joe Hansen back in the studio. We just thought, why not sprinkle a little razzle-dazzle and just bring something new? And I think I kind of like it.
Joe, we kind of miss you. I mean, I can speak for myself. And good morning, Joe.
Yeah, good morning, and thanks for allowing us to sit down, Gbenga.
Yeah,
Gbenga said
you're
morning,
welcome,
guys.
Joe.
Let's just sit, guys.
Good morning, Joe. You know what? Go to Enugu and collect your good morning from the Nigerian Bar Association and your lawyer colleagues.
This thing has been paying you since,
It's because I did not study professional course.
At least you have met your professional colleague here, isn't it?
Yes, my bro for life. I miss you, bro.
One time. Oh my goodness.
This is part of what we have to deal with. It's even a lot more dramatic behind the scenes. But we're glad to be able to share this with you. Thank you for staying with us through the seasons and through the changes. I am Olive Emodi, and you're welcome to Breakfast Central.
And I'm Gbenga Borough. The right place to start your day is here on Breakfast Central. We bring you the best of news, insightful information, discussions, and just the right way to start your day. As I said earlier, I'm Gbenga Borough.
And I'm Joe Hansen saying welcome. It feels good to be back. Just a few days off, and then we're back and ready to roll. Most importantly, I want to say thank God for life. Having seen what happened in the Abuja-Kaduna train that indeed decided to derail, it was indeed hard. It was worrisome. Yeah. Bottom line.
But I thank God.
But we thank God. Yes, no kidnapping.
No lives were lost.
Yeah.
Right.
Only 6 persons were injured. Yeah. And we must use this medium to say kudos to the Nigerian military. Also kudos to the security operatives. They swung into action in real time, and they ensured that they got there just at the nick of time to prevent any form of attacks that could have happened at that point. But the question one would ask is how would the coach, the coaches separate from each other? How would the train derail from itself?
And the only logical conclusion, it's a case of vandalism. And we need to get into a proper discussion on that. Vandalizing critical national infrastructure should warrant a death sentence as far as I'm concerned.
Isn't that too harsh?
It's not too harsh.
Because
transformers, airports, transponders.
I mean, MTN just said that they've lost
clips on the rails.
The vandalizing railway. There are people that even vandalize communication towers.
Telco, MTN just declared that they've lost how many millions?
It's the most wicked and despicable thing you could do, and lives could have been lost with that derailment if these trains moved at faster speed.
So derailment is something that we've struggled with as a nation. The National Bureau of Statistics released a report, and in that report they said between 2020 and 2022 we had experienced 183 derailments. So 2020, I think we had about 57, then there was 61 in 2021, and then there was 65 in 2022. But it didn't stop there. If we now go to 2023, you recall in March, we had the one where people were kidnapped, and then they had over 60 persons kidnapped and the death of 8 people. Eventually, they were freed. That was kept, the Abuja-Kaduna rail was shut down for 8 months.
Yeah.
But before then, I think there was one in January, if I'm correct. There was also one in March 26, 2024. In fact, last year had more rail derailments than usual. March 26, 2024. Then there was another one 10 days after that, March 26. There was one on I think it's 5th of June. Yes, 5th of June. And it's this same Abuja-Kaduna. So the ones I'm talking about now, the Abuja-Kaduna rail.
Yeah.
5th of June, 12th of June, still at that same Asham road. So if you look at the frequency and the regularity with which this has occurred, House of Reps asked them. They summoned the Minister of Transportation last year, and then NRC at the time said, again, going back to what Gbenga had said earlier, it's due to vandalism and those who are stealing the track fastening clips. Here we are again. I think one thing that this tells us is that there's a certain vulnerability on that Asham, port, where we keep having
happens all the
over
time.
And over again. So we now need to ensure that there are measures that have been put in place to ensure that we don't keep having this. On the one hand, I want to feel like, well, we're doing better because this is the first one that we're having this year. But then we shouldn't be having it at all.
And then there's another story but you can't keep excusing poverty as a reason for criminality. That's why you have rules and regulations. Who do these people sell at this bolt and
Look
the
at
packs
just
that
look
they
at rats.
vandalize.
We don't
I
know
mean,
for
it's-
sure what this one is. To be fair,
Look, I can put a wager on it. It is vandalism.
well,
I want to second that.
yeah,
I
it
agree.
most likely will be.
I agree.
But maybe we should wait until the National Bureau for Investigation Safety tells us what this is. This is because, of course, they're carrying out their investigations. But again, it points out to the vulnerability on this line and how we then need to maybe look for ways in which we can prevent this from happening.
Yeah,
It can be
talking about
regular-
ways to prevent this from happening. There's been suggestions that, you know, the entire stretch should be fenced, and that's going to cost us a huge amount of money.
Fencing is too far. Before we get to fencing might take a while. There should be regular security
Patrols and
patrols, surveillance, and beyond even that, they need to work with the locals. Let the locals, you know, the way where you want to buy land, and then Omonile will come and collect their cut. Work with the locals in such a way that they feel like these tracks belong to them, and they feel a need to protect these tracks. We can also then leverage the use of technology. AI-powered drones to ensure that these hover around and that from time to time we can see that there is a thorough job done of properly investigating this. Because the truth is, this could have gone left. People could have died. Thankfully, I think
could have been kidnapped.
the high side, the upside to this one is the response time. From the
Yeah,
report, we get that
I like the
quick,
response time.
you know, and that people were easily transferred
But imagine-
to an export, but it could have quickly gone left.
But there's also one critical aspect that we also need to look into, and that's taking us back to 2022, where this same train route had an accident, was attacked as well, and a few persons lost their lives, just like you mentioned earlier. Back then, you did have the former River State governor, who was the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amici, who had come out, and I think that signaled his unhappiness with the then government, because he did mention that he requested for security equipment that would be able to forestall any attack on the train, the rail, the track systems, you name them, but he did not get them. And my worry is, if he had requested for that since 2022, there was a body or a what's the normal thing that they set up in the committee?
Okay.
I always say our committees, we always convene, we always put committees together, and then again, nothing happens. There was a committee that was to look into it. I was expecting that by now, the committee would have come out with a result or communique or a white paper to say, listen, let's get these equipments to forestall any form of attacks. I did hear that some of the equipment that are used in different, places is that there's this alarm that it makes. If there's anybody who's an intruder, it has an early warning system. It shouts, it makes noise, and so on. But
Beyond
since 2022 up until now,
even the alarm that allows you know when there's been when one of the track fasteners
the digital,
so you know that this area we need to check.
But
That's why I say we need to employ technology. It costs lots of money, but is it not costing us more? Because now they're going to do a refund to everybody that was on that train. In fact, some people are calling for compensation.
The disruption to the routes, because there's no way it can be fixed. Maybe not even in a week, because you have to get cranes to, move. You have to do repairs on the train, and then the tracks. It's really terrible. Just because
the NRC is also losing money because, like you've mentioned, they may be away. Yes, so in some cases we've seen them come back in 4 days. There have been cases where it lasted a month. There have been cases where it lasted 8 months. That was the case of the kidnap that led to the death and injury of and the withholding, holding to ransom of some of our citizens. Thankfully, all of them were released. But this definitely
and sadly some lost their lives, like the doctor who the bullet actually penetrated through the window. And then someone also highlighted in this same train and did a video just last month that the windows have not been fixed. You could still see the bullets that penetrated through the windows. They were still the same, this same rail track. But I want to say did I say congratulations? I want to commend the security operatives for actually coming out quickly to ensure that they were able to secure the lives of the people who they became stranded. My question is, how were they taken away?
So there was another train that was then deployed strictly for, I think through another rail line that was then just to take people back. And they've said, NRC released a statement explaining what happened. And on their page, if you check on X, you will see the press release. And in that statement, they had said that they would refund everyone's money. But beyond refunding, people have started to ask, it's not just about refunding. Will they get compensation?
Yeah.
Because there are those who have lost time, who are, this has caused a huge discomfort to
the people that were injured,
exactly,
psychological
the 6
trauma,
people who were injured,
things like that. But
right. Rail derailment has been an issue beyond even Abuja-Kaduna, Warri, Itakpe lines. A number of these lines have had to deal with this, but like I said, it's bittersweet. Maybe the silver lining for me is this is the first. I'm already in the 8th month of the year. So maybe, okay, it hasn't happened as much in this year, but we don't want it to happen at all. But let's take a number of Nigerians' reactions to the Abuja-Kaduna railway derailment, and let's see what they thought about it.
IBK says, I boarded this same train on Monday and I noticed it shaking at some point. That means this issue has lingered and the government there knows about it, but will they fix it before casualties? You know the answer. Well, IBK, I wouldn't want to say the government really knows about it. Every single thing is not about the government.
And trains do shake.
Trains do shake, yeah, but everything is not really about the government. Also, what about the workers, the people who are working there? You want to tell me that the engineers did not also check if they noticed there were some shakes here and there? Well, Orenusi Samuel says the tracks are set in good positions. Those who hijack trains are the ones who cause the reasons train derail through vandalizing tracks. I hope stringent efforts are put in place to checkmate them, because more and more citizens will lose faith in the system if it continues. And you're right, if it happens, people would slow down. The Peace Ambassador, Ash Ama Koko, says, imagine this country, both on the ground, overground, even DLR in London have been operating for years, and you can never hear this happening anywhere near their trains or tracks. It's only Nigeria where they will go to China and buy the abandoned trains and paint them, and then come back and be deceiving Nigerian citizens the good process.
Well, that's not the situation.
That's not the situation here now. Other countries' trains are moving 300 kilometers per hour without any issues, but my country's train that's moving like a snail is still derailing. Steve. Anyway, Steve, I think we can actually just highlight one key issue here. One, we just need to wait for the Railway Corporation to actually send in their reports.
It will be very important for us to get that report.
Yeah,
the swiftness, and I appreciate the swiftness they used to, the swiftness at which they issued their press release. I also want to talk about vandalism of critical national infrastructure. It's really, really terrible. And then it highlights the level of poverty in the country. If you've noticed something, if you're driving through Sowore, through the National Theatre axis down to the island, because you're preempting people from, you're stopping it, and you've seen that, look, when you use guardrails, when you use the aluminum or metal, people vandalize it. So now they are using cement to, they are replacing them with cement. Yeah, they're casting them just because you don't want.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that last week. I was wondering what they were doing. I saw that.
The manholes.
Oh, okay, yeah, and the manholes are gone.
Yes, they're gone, and it has caused so many accidents. So they've said, you should use plastic materials or even cement for manholes, because you just have to.
I'm starting to align with your thought of your thoughts that anyone who is caught destroying national infrastructure should actually have a lifetime in jail, and I think so. I think so.
Okay, just to highlight again the press release by the NRC as to what the numbers were. So far, we hear that 618 persons were on board the train, 517 were passengers. We had 15 NRC crew members, 1 medical personnel, 8 cleaners, and 11 catering staff, and were successfully evacuated from the train. The remaining passengers were conveyed safely back to Idu and Kubwa stations aboard a rescue train dispatched from Idu for that purpose, and all have since returned safely to their destinations. We'll continue to bring updates. We do hope that, again, when it comes to situations like this, that we can have a clearer picture of what the numbers are, of what led to this, and how we can avoid it. We do not want to see this, because the truth is, it could have easily turned left. And the numbers, when you look at the derailment challenges that Nigeria's train corporation experiences, the numbers are in no small measure what we should be celebrating. But well done to the NRC for speedy response, and we thank God that it wasn't worse than it actually is.
Yeah.
Let's now move on to another story, this time in Delta State. Now, a video went viral of some police officers counting money that others allege that may have been obtained from extortion. because of the manner in which the money was handled. You can see the officer there counting money. Now, this video became viral and sparked outrage. Let's take a listen. Nigerian police officer, if you can see here, it says that this is the area command in Asaba. This video sparked outrage on social media with a number of netizens complaining bitterly about this, accusing the officers of extortion. Now, Bright Edafe then released this photo stating that the 4 officers have been identified. The 2 are senior police officers who have gotten queries, and the remaining 2 have been remanded. And this is them appearing before the Commissioner of Police, and he's bringing, this is just an update to the facts that they have been found. I'm just going to read out the exact tweets where Bright Edafe shared this, and then we can share our thoughts. He says, the policemen in the embarrassing video have been identified and arrested. They appeared before the CP today. The 4 personnel, 2 of them who are senior officers, have been queried, while the 2 inspectors have been detained and are awaiting an orderly room trial. Anyway, so
I really have to appreciate the swiftness of the Delta State Police Command. I wonder how they identified them. Just from the shape of the head. No, I mean, I'm sure there's there are more than one operational vehicles.
But whoever is in charge in Asaba Command will be able to. It's just like somebody saying, they take a picture of someone that's a new central staff.
Or imagine, that is in
Breakfast
Central crew.
Imagine that
was Joe.
No, that can't. No, that can't be me.
I think more Kunle. It's Kunle that will count the money.
Kunle is there counting money. They will now say, this is new central boss. It can never be us.
No.
But then we will then be able to track down. Our head of programs will be able to find out from the team. The head of the producers of the show will then be able to narrow it down.
But
so I don't
can
think
never be associated with such.
No.
And again, the Nigerian police, why, it reminds me of Balotelli. Why always me? Why always the Nigerian police in the news? But the same Nigerian police is also doing something about the bad eggs. They didn't just see the video and ignore.
I also have 2 sides to this too, but you go ahead first.
First of all, how can we prove that the money we saw him counting was money from extortion? I'm not holding brief for the Nigerian police. What can we categorically say?
Wait. I want to answer you.
No, let me learn first. Wait. So how can we prove that that money is not money that his wife has scraped together and given to him to go and pay their children's school fees? We cannot categorically say exactly that is not a wajo. We can't categorically say that that money was from extortion.
Okay, that's the lawyer you speak.
That's one. On the flip side, Bright Edafe coming to tell us that 4 police officers have been arrested, that 2 were queried, and the other 2 were they're remanded. They'll be investigated. First of all, there's a bit of a misunderstanding as to why is it that 4 people were involved in the offense and 2 were giving query and the other 2. In this life, all fingers are not equal. And the final
maybe the one that gingered the extortion.
The 2 that were giving query are senior officers.
And so my question, I know.
The senior officers. While the other 2 are just inspectors.
I read that. I said that. Well, it doesn't matter. If you were involved, shouldn't you get similar punishment? In fact, the levels of accountability should be higher for the senior officers.
Absolutely.
Because you are the one who will tell these junior officers, no, don't do that.
You lead by example.
I saw a video the other day of a senior officer chastising a junior officer who was collecting bribe. And my final take would be, if you're going to release information, let's not do half and half. You might as well share the names of these officers as well to ensure that there is clarity. The same way that when the Nigerian police picks up people that they're investigating, suspects, thankfully that has calmed down. But for the longest time, their names are out, their photos are out.
Age 32.
Exactly, their information is out. Why can't they share this information as well? So that as they're investigating, we can also be following the process. So if you want to give clarity, clarity cannot be done in half measures. Clarity has to be complete. I rest my case.
Dilo, can I answer you?
You may.
Please go ahead before I jump in.
You said how we show that the money is from proceeds of corruption.
From extortion.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Number 1, when you begin to use money to hook another money together, just know that there's something fishy going on. it means you are dividing it by the number of people you want to share with. So
that's a fallacy of hasty generalization.
We're
just jumping into conclusions.
Yeah,
but don't know for sure. And this is not me holding brief for the
Delta State Police Command.
I call them out here when there's obvious
Delta
being a
State
crime.
Police Command has vindicated us. They've done the investigation.
I mean, we must give kudos to.
So,
we must give kudos.
it's a foregone conclusion.
It's not a conclusion. We don't
so
know
why would they?
No, we don't know for sure. It is not a conclusion.
But wait.
We need that investigation to be made public. And that's another area that I need to point out. They do all these investigations. We hear that this person has been reprimanded. This person has been, their spokesperson comes to give us one flowery comment. No, Nigerians need to be carried along through the investigation process because, again, there's already a breach of trust. It's the breach of trust between the citizens and the police that will make when you see somebody, a police officer holding money, your first interpretation of that is, it's bribe.
I mean, that's what we must give kudos to Bright Edafe, because he has come out to say, listen, like you said, it's very swift and it's good. But my two sides to this, my take is this. One, I think the police officers and the Nigerian police force, especially men of the police force, should become ever more aware that we live in a changed society now. And I'll tell you why we say changed society. The reason is because now we have cameras. Whether you like it or not, people are ensuring that they have cameras even inside their cars, outside, within. The other time we saw someone who was disturbed for wearing the glasses with cameras and so on. And this should actually help the police officers to understand that, listen, we have to be more careful. We have to be more prudent. We have to be we have to be focused in doing our jobs. Because by the time we decide to do something quite different, we could be captured on camera. And that's exactly what this situation looks like. I'm sure that when they were done, they just decided to park somewhere. And someone decided to take the responsibility of being a journalist, because everybody with a phone now claims to be one, and then did the recording. That's what.
To you, when they were done from what?
Extortion.
When they were, I don't know. I don't know.
Because of the type of bills and the manner in which they were going about it in a clandestine way. If they weren't hiding anything, why don't you count the money?
So if I want to count my money, I should open my car and come down out of my car and stand in front of the car.
Are they not police? Who wants to rob them when they are counting their money?
That's a good question. But my point to you is, we can't say it, so let's wait for the investigation to come through. I also agree with Oliver, on the other hand, that if there were 4 officers, 2 senior officers, 2 inspectors, I think all 4 should actually be met with the same process of either interrogation or this. Because exactly. Well,
because to whom much is given,
I agree. So they should be able to face the same processes of either they're going to be questioned, interrogated, or they're taken to the trial room, whichever. But lastly, this also calls for one thing. It also is a clear indication that whether we like it or not, in a country like Nigeria, we need to do more. We need to ensure that the police officers are well paid, they are well remunerated, they receive good salaries, and that calls for reforms. And I think we will continue to see, Gbenga, I know you are saying here we go, but let's be honest, if a police officer earns 70,000 naira in this particular economy and he has 4 children, how is he going to care for them?
Teachers, doctors, everybody could use some extra pay. It's a voluntary organization, and they were not conscripted.
Can I say
if
that
you don't like
it,
you can resign?
Again, 2 truths can coexist in that it's not an excuse for you to carry out fraudulent activities. This is assuming that money was gotten from extortion. But then again, I go back to what you were saying. So
because doctors are carrying stethoscopes and not guns, they should be striking. They should. I mean,
but they're striking anyway.
Yeah, they're striking.
They should start giving people wrong injections. Is that what you mean?
So,
or they should be threatening them.
It is not
50K or I choke you this injection.
By the way, that happened to me just 2 nights ago. Wow. I had to pay a ransom in the hospital to get treatments for a family member. And that's crazy. It's a conversation we'll have later on. I hope we do.
Okay.
Look at the Nigerian
everybody needs better welfare, a livable wage.
I mean something.
Okay. Let's get reactions of Nigerians to this on X. They've been talking about it, and let's see what they have to say regarding the Delta State. Someone says, if this is not robbery, what is robbery? NG Police Com. The Delta State Police Command is one of the most corrupt, dubious, and notorious in Nigeria. We urge the police top hierarchy to deal decisively with erring officers tarnishing the image of the force. Then the next tweet, and the worst part of it all is how such officers harass motorists to get these 100 naira, 200, from assault to verbal abuse. Now, who do you report to? If the officers are identified, we only read of their supposed suspension. Exactly. We only read of their supposed suspension in and on the news, but no serious example is set because the corruption starts from the top. And these are the people we expect to serve during the election season. God help us in this country. That's what Daniel Rega says. Our next tweet from Mezie says, these are the animals we have on our highways, extorting people with brutal force and coercion. The fact about police extortion in Nigeria is that no extortion happens on the way without the police bosses in the offices knowing about it. Extort and share is what they do in the Nigeria police force, and this is why extortion can't ever end in that organization. That is the tweet from Mizzy. Ben Samuel says, it's simply unfair. Someone is busy counting their children's school fees, money they earn legitimately, and you're simply recording that. Exactly. I strongly dislike baseless
I agree. I
accusations.
strongly.
This is sarcasm, Sha. This one is sarcasm.
Of course. I'm sure they don't pay them cash. I know it's the end of the month.
Anyway.
I don't think they pay cash. They pay into their accounts.
Ikuku says Nigeria police that should be a security force, they count money like market woman for Balogo market. With due respect to our wonderful traders.
Okay.
Joe, I'm sure if that video clip lasted longer, we could have seen this way of counting.
The one that they will use
saliva
in the fingers.
but it's sad that in 2025 we still have to deal with all of these things. And besides, I always say that because Nigeria prides itself as a giant of Africa. In as much as we have such videos like this, circulated on social media space, we're also happy to say that we have good videos of good police officers who are doing amazing things. So we're not going to paint, the entire thing. No, we wouldn't do that. But we want to say well done to the police spokesperson, and we hope that there will be a report after the entire investigation.
And I'm looking forward to the Nigerian police Christmas carol video. We're approaching the end of the month.
I know. They're going to shoot music video. Maybe they'll use Director Pink this time. But just to say that, I know that earlier I had said, and I still hold the view, that we do not know how that money was gotten. But then again, I can understand the sentiment of a huge fraction of Nigerians who genuinely believe that this money was gotten from extortion, because that has been the practice that we see, where you stop at checkpoints and you're seeing Nigerian police officers asking you anything for the boys, anything for the girls. Sometimes they are more civil about it or more polite about it. Other times they're very violent about it. They're cocking their guns at you, asking you to park, bring out your particulars, and when they can find nothing on you, they end up asking, so how far now, anything. So extortion has become a practice that has been widely accepted and strongly criticized by citizens. Widely accepted because we do not know how much work has been done in terms of the police officers themselves realizing the dangers in what they're doing and how it's painting a terrible image for the Nigerian police force. And criticized because citizens have tried. We try. Citizens wear smart glasses, make these videos, citizens put up a fight in the face of unlawful extortion. We would once again lend our voices to say extortion is criminal, and the Nigerian police should carry itself with the utmost pride, as it should be. It is the force of our nation, and it should not be caught up in these sort of dirty arguments and dirty stories about officers that are extorting. We don't want to see videos of foreigners coming into Nigeria and passing through our borders, making videos of Nigerian officers in a way also trying to extort them. We have tons of these videos, and we need a different narrative for the Nigerian police. That being said, let there be investigation.
I want to put up a challenge that throughout next week, I really hope, throughout Breakfast Central next week, that we won't have any wake-up conversations or any stories, negative stories about the Nigerian police force.
People have got
Let's see how long they can keep it up.
I'm sure they'll keep it up.
This is the second time this week, and today is just Wednesday.
All right, let's move to our final story. The convener of revolution now, Yele Sowore, seems to be in the eye of the storm again. And this time, the IGP has gotten a court ruling to access his account. Of course, you know that he's been embattled with it feels like it's been a battle between the Nigerian police and the IGP. He initiated the investigation into Yele Sowore in August 2025, alleging that he was involved in terrorism financing, money laundering, and fraudulent activities. The police claim to have received intelligence reports indicting or indicating that Sowore was using his account for these purposes and receiving financial support from foreign partners for terrorism. To facilitate the investigation, he has obtained this court order directing 6 banks, saying that they request documents including account opening packages, mandate cards, and certified true copies of statements reflecting all transactions from January 2024 to present. Sowore has, of course, denied these allegations, describing the investigation as politically motivated and part of a broader effort to silence his activism and journalism. He has continued to criticize the IGP and the police leadership over issues of corruption and governance. Gentlemen?
These are very serious allegations, and I believe if he has something to hide, that the courts will prove it. But again, is this priority? Is this what we should be looking at? I mean, at this point in our nationhood, is that the biggest security threat? But I mean, who are we to tell the Nigerian police who to investigate and what not to investigate? So I believe the courts, in their own wisdom, will decide the steps to be taken.
That's right. I mean, when I saw the story, I said, okay, this is, it's like from one stage to the other. The first stage was, had to be the accusations, just like you also read. The next stage was also ensuring that you had taken retired police officers straight to the IG's office to protest. Aside from that, that was a different protest in between. But you use that same medium to say, listen, whoever you're talking to is not your IGP. And we've also seen Mr. Sowore go around to say that the IGP is not supposed to be the IGP because he's way past his age, and he should actually have left office. So he doesn't regard him as one.
He calls him illegal. I was saying,
yeah, illegal IGP, that's what he calls it. And then before we knew it, that led to his arrest recently. And he had pointed out on this show, Breakfast Central, about 2 weeks ago, that he knows that the reason for his arrest was as a result of the fact that he's been talking against the IGP.
Yeah. Not just the IGP, but also against the Cybercrime Act.
Absolutely. And after that arrest, here we are again. This is another phase. So I'm seeing it as from phase 1 to 2 to 3. We keep going back and like that. It's back and forth. Right. But let's see.
Sowore, of course, has reacted to this. On his X account, he says the illegal IGP has picked up on the same failed strategy by the now disgraced and extinct Muhammadu Buhari regime because I said I don't want any private meetings with him. Kayode Egbetokun, I am not interested in meetings with crooks and criminals. I can't be an accessory to their crimes against the Nigerian people, and they won't learn until this regime, the Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu regime, is finally disgraced to #revolution now. That's what he says. But let's go on X and get Nigerians' reactions to these updates. Wicked
to Obingo says this. What kind of name? These names, Obingo. What is this? Black African wit. It says this Sowore was working for USAID. He go use in hand, enter trouble, make it pray, say nothing linking him with terrorism unknowingly. He go hear him like Nnamdi Kanu. All right, that's one. Let's move on to another one. Did I ever hear court order requesting banks to furnish IGP with account details linked to those that have stolen billions from state and federal government purse? Now, this is a completely different conversation. #Egwetiku must go. That's what this one says. And the court, shame go catch you now at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. #revolution now. This is Ario A. Adewale. Let's see, we have another tweet quickly. Victoria Arceta 2 says, Sowore forgot that he that lives in a glass house does not throw stones. What the IG has done is called follow the money trail. Now we will know where Sowore and SR gets the funds to carry out his protestpreneurship, you wanted to say. No worries if it's clean, but is it? And then we'll move on to another one.
You know, I mean, legally, Olive, does Mr. Sowore have the legal means to contest this request?
I mean, he has every right to contest everything that's brought up against him. That's why there's a court of competent jurisdiction where if you feel that your rights have been infringed upon, then you can go against it. But this is not the first time that they're asking for freezing Sowore's account. In 2019, same thing happened because you know there were strong allegations against him.
But
and
this is beyond freezing. Well. They want to see the details. Yeah.
Well, so even when there's client confidentiality, but there are exclusions to every general rule. So generally, your banks owe you client confidentiality to not disclose your information. However, in the case where there has been an allegation of a commission of a crime,
national
the court
security
can request
issues,
that the
yeah.
bank provides your details. So yes, this is not something that cannot be done. It's whether, like Sowore is arguing, there is a legitimate reason behind it, or there's another undertone that we'll find out. But time will tell. We'll be bringing you the updates of these stories. But for now, I don't know if you have any other...
No,
Yeah,
nothing more.
I just wanted to say that, I mean, shame on those policemen in the Delta State Police Command, because they're giving the president a bad name. Because just yesterday in Brazil, the president said there's no corruption in Nigeria.
I thought you would say more like corruption is gone. You know,
corruption is gone.
Those like subsidies gone.
Yes, and then, so what happened to the guys that were caught with those wads of Nigeria?
But is that statement 100% fact?
Well, that may be something that we might discuss later on in the show this morning.
So
and to ask you, our audience, when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Brazil says corruption is no more in Nigeria.
That's corruption. That one is extortion.
That you agree with? You can let us know. We're streaming live on YouTube at News Central TV. And at some point, we'll open the phone lines. You can call in and share your thoughts with us as well. But for now, let's begin with our top stories for today. This morning on Breakfast Central, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu declares Nigeria corruption-free. And we'll be bringing you an update on the Benue Assembly crisis. They had an executive meeting yesterday, and what the update is from there we'll tell you. Northern PDP youths condemn South zoning, which was an offshoot of the 102nd PDP NEC meeting. As a strike, NANS threatens asset shutdown as they ask the federal government to uphold their own end of the agreement. We'll review the newspaper front pages and open the phone lines for you to call and share your thoughts. Stay with us.